Deanna has dedicated 30 years of her life to the children of our community by teaching at Jackson Park Elementary School. So some of you may have that connection with her, with your children. Upon retiring, she and her husband planned to have an exciting life of travel. However, that dream was short-lived when she received the news that was hard to wrap her head around. Today, she is here to share how God amazingly carried her through all of the twists and turns of her roller coaster-like journey. Please welcome with me, Deanna Shue.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I am so excited to be here. One of the things that I love is to tell people about what Jesus has done in my life. In 2016, I retired from Jackson Park, like she said. And I retired on October 1st. And then November 2nd, I was going to get my hair cut. Normal day. Tim was out mowing the yard. I'm back down the driveway. Bye, baby, I love you. You know, just normal day. Well, when I got down to where, I'm sure you know where Country Club Drive is, back behind the mall. I remember looking over to the right and felt and heard something pop right here in my eye. I thought, what in the world? Then it's become like a kaleidoscope of colors. Everywhere I looked was just reds, greens, blues, purples. I had no idea. And here I am, you know, Jesus, please, don't let me hurt anybody. Please, don't let anybody hit me. You know, just please take care of me. I'm telling you off the grace of God. God drove my car that morning because I made it down. Now you think of it was at noon was my appointment, so it's about lunchtime. And getting through the traffic back there, I couldn't turn off. My first thought was turn off. You know, I couldn't see any exits, so I couldn't turn off. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, there's a stoplight down there. Make it to the stoplight, take a right, and get up in the mall parking lot. My mind wasn't thinking right. You have to remember that. Okay. I got down to the light safely, turned right, and then there was this big wide open space on this side of the road that I really never noticed before. So I pulled in there. By the time, now looking back, I should have called 911, but I didn't. I wanted to call my husband, Tim, and I couldn't see the phone to call him. So I'm like, hey Siri, call Tim. And thank God, Siri called Tim. And I couldn't quite tell him where I was because I didn't know. I mean, but by what I could get out to him, we don't live that far from the mall, 10 minutes maybe. He jumped in his truck and bam, he was there. And by the time he got there, then I was seeing double. Like there were 2 grays, 2 blues, 2 greens, and my speech had garbled. And he tried to get me out of the car and get me into his truck, and he had to get me over there. I mean, I couldn't walk anything. The big point I want you to take away from that is God drove my truck. That's the first miracle that started this crazy journey, which I'm going to go on, tell you more about. He got me to the hospital. Long story short, I had a stroke. So driving down the road in mild traffic at lunchtime, I had a stroke. And God kept me safe. I mean, that's right there's the first time I could have passed away, right? Easily from stroke, from a wreck, from all kinds of stuff. He got me to the hospital. The residual. I walked away from it after seeing, I'm telling y'all, every specialist in the book, every speech therapist, every occupational therapist, every therapist in the book, they let me go home and I had no residual from it. So that right there was a miracle from itself. Now let me tell you, I was going to tell you, over 4.5 years, I come close to dying 9 times. So when I say I'm a miracle, I'm not like, oh, I'm a miracle. I'm like, I am a miracle, and I am proud to claim it because God saved this girl over and over and over. Well, after the stroke, that was October 16th, I retired. November 2nd was the stroke. At Christmas, I felt like I was gaining weight. And I was like, golly, I'm getting big. But then I was like feeling my stomach right here. And it was hard, like when you're pregnant. And I thought, that's weird. So I went there and I showed to him, I said, feel my stomach. And he felt it. And he's like, you got to go to the doctor. Well, the next morning I got up, and you could see a vein go up my stomach. He said, you're going to the doctor. Well, that was a Christmas, so of course they were closed, so we had to wait till the day after Christmas. Go, well that, I saw my PA, which love her. She sent, you know how they do the least checks, whatever, first. So we spent that first week doing this, that, and the other. It didn't work. And the day after New Year's, I went back, and my doctor that I normally see, like who I totally trust my whole life with, he wasn't there again. So I got to see my PA again. She sent me for a scan. That was on Tuesday. I hadn't even been, no, I saw her on Tuesday. She scheduled the scan for Wednesday. Hadn't even been an hour, and my phone rang. And they said, your doctor, he came in that day, he was in that evening, needs to see you to talk about your results. Oh boy, I knew that wasn't good. Hadn't even been an hour, and he wanted to tell me. So my mom was with Tim and me, and we went in, and I'm gonna tell you that was the longest wait, sitting there waiting on them to call my name, because I knew whatever I was facing wasn't good. We go in, they call us in. Here comes the nurse, here comes Dr. Levy, who is my primary care, who I think walks on water.
Yes.
Here comes my PA, which I love her. Here comes another nurse. They were all parading in. I'm going, okay, this is really not good, because this doesn't happen when you come to the doctor. Long story short, I had a tumor the size of a regular size envelope in my ovaries. And they were like, well, we'll be sure to have surgery. They knew it was cancer. And that's what I said to my doctor. I said, they've seen this enough. Because he said it maybe can, but he couldn't give me the official. He wasn't an oncologist, so he was waiting on her to check me. I saw Lindsay on Tuesday, scan, and send Dr. Levy to get my results on Wednesday. On Thursday, they set me up with Dr. Miller, who I have been so blessed with great doctors. Dr. Miller, she walked on water too. She retired out, which breaks my heart, but I'm happy for her. They sent me to her on Thursday, and she's like, well, when do you want to have your surgery? I said, tomorrow. She's like, oh yeah, that would be good. She said, I'm sorry. Y'all, if I start laughing, my train makes me cough sometimes, so I'm sorry if I start coughing. But her nurse came back in, and she said, first she said, well, if we can work it out, there's more people than just me that has to be there. She says, I'm not sure when we have it, we'll check. The nurse came back in, and she said, how about 7 o'clock in the morning? I was like, let's do it. Because then I found out how blessed I was, because then I started finding out how people had to wait when they got that news. So I was like, bam, 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 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we were done, I was diagnosed with 2 different kinds of ovarian cancer. They were mixed together. They were both aggressive and rare. Both aggressive and rare. So it wasn't and it was stage 3C. So I was sort of starting on the back end of it. Well, when we found out the day before I saw Dr. Miller, let me back up to when I saw Dr. Levy, and we went in and when he told us the news. I don't get upset often. It takes a lot to get me upset, and you don't see it very often if I do, but that day when he told me, I felt like my whole world, because you don't know if you're going to live, you don't know if you're going to die, you don't know, you've got kids, you've got grandkids, you've got a wonderful husband, your family, you don't know. And after he told me, I cried. I remember crying, and I remember Tim wrapping his arms around me. I remember Mama wrapping her arms around us. We cried maybe a minute or two, and then I was just like, okay. And the tears stopped, and I was like, okay, now we know what it is. What do we do? Because now I thought we have a diagnosis, and somebody can take care of it. And we'll be done. That was my thoughts. Okay, so that's when he told me about going to see Dr. Miller and all that. So we leave his office, we get in Tim's truck, we're going down the road, and all of a sudden, like I said, I don't hardly ever get mad at anything. I got so mad, y'all. I took my fist and I just knocked the fire out of this truck door. I mean, I was furious, and I started saying, why, God? Why me? Why is this happening to me? And as soon as I said that, I knew I was wrong. Because God has a reason for every single thing that happens. I knew I was wrong in asking him that. And I'll tell you, my daddy passed away in '88 in a freak accident. And I will never forget this lady coming through the receiving line. And she said, don't ask why it shouldn't be your daddy. Or don't ask why it's your daddy. Why shouldn't it be your daddy? And I thought, I'm not going to tell you exactly what I thought. I thought, woman, we're in complete shock. I mean, I had hung the phone up talking to my daddy. He walked out of the building and got hit. That's how fast it happened. And my mom and daddy were so in love. I mean, it's like, I pray my marriage is that happy at 36 years. That's back in the 80s, they'd been married that long. So our whole family, our life was turned upside down. So when this lady said that to me, it's like, okay, lady, you need to move on. But it was funny because that also came back in my mind when I said, why me? Why shouldn't it be me? So what that lady said in '88 came back around. Why shouldn't it be me? So my whole attitude changed, and it was like, instead of God, why me? It was like, okay, God, now what do I do with this? What do I do with it? What do you want me to do with it? I know there's a reason. I can't imagine any reason why anybody would have to face this, but I know there's a reason. We went through my, 6 weeks? I don't even remember. 6 treatments. I don't even remember now. It's been so long ago. Of treatments. We got through them all. And before I say anything else, 2 of my nurses are over here, which makes me very happy. And also, I wrote about y'all in the book too. I have my nurses in there. My nurses in phenomenal. But we got through our. Oh, okay. Let me tell you this. Besides being told you have cancer, I'm not high maintenance. I'm not materialistic. But I'm gonna tell you something. As a lady, when they tell you your hair's gonna fall out, that's probably the second hardest thing than being told you have cancer. Yeah. Of course, it came out. Mine's fallen out twice. The first time it came out, I did it all. The wigs, the scarves, the hats. But I'm just sort of me, so I felt funny wearing all that stuff. And I felt, especially the wigs, I felt like I was dressing up, and it wasn't me. But I still did it because it was just hard. So then we're at the beach, and one of our sons and his 2 kids come down. And he'll never know the impact this had on me. Even down there, I wore the scarves, everything. I walk out and Kendall says, you look more like yourself with nothing on your head. And I know that might sound little, and it might not sound like much, but when our son said that, it just like gave me a whole new confidence to go out. So I leave the condo and I go to Ross by myself. All right, y'all, this is the first time I go in public with nothing on my head. I believe with all my heart that God puts people in your path for a reason. I believe that with all my heart. So I go to Ross, I'm in there, and I know nobody gives a flying flip that I don't have hair on my head. But to me, I was real self-conscious, and it was just hard. I mean, it's just hard. This lady literally steps in front of me. She was an employee there. She steps in front of me and stops me. And she said, you are beautiful. And of course, when she said that, I told her the story about losing my hair, what my son had just said. And she said, let me tell you something. She said, you are here at the beach where you don't know anybody. When you go home, you're going to have your friends and your family there to support you. God's going to give you what you need to get through anything you face. Now, what are the chances somebody's going to, she literally stepped into my path, but what are the chances that, I mean, her encouragement, my son's encouragement, her encouragement, your emotions when you have cancer are like all over the place. So when God puts his people there, for you. I mean, that's a sign to you. And that's one thing, the reason, like, I'm sharing my story, because I want people to know what God does for me, what He's done for me. He can do for anybody. I mean, when all this first started, I told my neighbor, I said, when I speak, I don't want to get up there and I'll be about me because I'm not special. She corrected me real quick. She said, because I said I want it to be God. I don't even know what God's doing. She said, you're wrong. You are special. She said, we're all special because we're children of God. So she corrected me real quick, and she's right. Excuse me. We're definitely all special. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me say, okay, God, to their part. Remember that God can do anything. God's going to put people. Keep your eyes and your mind open to what He puts in front of you to see. I mean, because it can be something little. It may not be somebody like directly, literally, the lady stopped right here. But anything that He puts in your path and all the little signs He sends you. Well, we got through those, what I say, I don't know, I don't even remember how many weeks of treatments. I got my little certificate. We went out front to the big pineapple at the hospital. Tim took my picture. I felt like I was graduating. And we thought we were done. You know, oh, this was easy. As far as side effects go, I call it cancer sick when you throw up. I got cancer sick a day and a half, and that was it. So really, we didn't have an easy time of it, and we were like, yeah, I mean, we got this going on. 3 months later, I had to go back to my checkup. Cancer was there. So that was definitely a letdown, but there again, God, help me out here, man. I need some help. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? So my mom has said a couple times, and a couple other people had said, now's the time to write your book, because it's always been my dream, is to have a book published. And I was like, I am not writing a book about cancer. Nobody wants to read about it. It is not fun. I mean, nobody wants to do it. But then when I started seeing over time what God has done, I thought, wow, this is the way to get that out there. This is the way for people to see the miracles that He can work in their life. We had to go back to get all my checkups after I was told I had it. It was there again, whatever. Everything looked great because they checked all the function of my kidneys, my heart, whatever's inside, I don't know. They checked it. Everything was great. So, and again, having cancer, you're on a roller coaster because 1 minute you're up here, the next minute you're down here. You don't know. I could like stand here. By the time we get in the parking lot, we were on our way to the hospital. That's just the way it was. So we're all up here because all the tests look really good. Then I had a CA 125, which is a tumor marker. It was high. I was like, okay, all the tests have been good. This isn't good. Was not good news. I kept trying to stay positive. All right, so we'll remember that. So we'll come back to that in a minute. My husband Tim, which let me tell y'all, is the greatest husband ever. He has been by my side every step of the way. He goes to every doctor's appointment. He's gone to every infusion. He's gone to every time I spoke, every book signing. He's gone every scan, every test. And when the hospital put the restrictions on, he would take his little lounge chair and sit outside the window. The girls in the lab would put me near a window, and he would come and he would take his lounge chair and sit outside the window, so he would be there close to me. But so he's been great. I just want to give him a shout out. He's definitely helped me. When the Bible says the husbands to love their wives like God loves the church, I feel it. I feel it. Okay, but I got my test done. Well, he never would go anywhere. I love him, but I was like, go somewhere. But he wouldn't leave my side. He wouldn't go because, like I said, we wouldn't know from 1 minute to the next if I was going to be here walking out the door in the hospital, because I lived at the hospital. One night he finally went fishing with his friends. All right, so he'd gone striper fishing in Columbia. So it was overnight. Well, you know how when you're in church and your heart, when Jesus is calling you to the altar and you start getting excited and your chest starts pumping, And I mean, you could just feel it inside. Well, I was asleep and woke up to that feeling like hard coming. And y'all, I am telling you the truth. I'm 22 years I'm standing here. I heard God say to me, Deanna, you're healed. I healed you. And I was just like, in shock. And I mean, because I know y'all, I know I heard him. So I called Tim, and it's like 4:30 in the morning. So I know it scared him. I mean, I had to, because here he is. I'm filing him to go somewhere. And he's out on the lake, and I'm calling at 4:30. I'm sure he saw my name. But then I was explaining to him what was happening. And then, of course, he knew. Went back to sleep about 6 o'clock, same thing. I woke up, my chest was beating, I was feeling all excited, and I heard him say it again. Dad, I've healed you, you're healed. Let me tell you something, I knew at that moment that no matter what I had to face, I was healed. I knew. And I knew I had to hold on to that. And after that, I thought, you know, if I have to go through 2 more things, 10 more things, whatever, I'm healed. Let me tell you, I wish I'd have stuck with the 2 more things. A whole lot more than 10 things. And each time, I'm not going to lie, it would be hard, but I would have to keep reminding myself, Dan, you're healed. You've got to go through this. There's a reason for it. There's a reason your thyroid's going crazy. There's a reason this has happened. There's a reason that's happening. And I really had to hold tight to my faith. And like, in you know, Matthew 17:20, it says, hold your faith. God, faith can move mountains. Have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move those mountains. And that's been a big thing that I've really stuck with. There's been tough times. After the fishing trip, after that happened, remember I told you the CA 125 went up. Well, I started hurting my stomach again. So I'm thinking, oh Lordy. So I had a scan, an appointment with Dr. Levy, and an appointment with Dr. Miller all on the same day. And I'm not gonna lie, I was scared about that scan. I don't like to say I was scared, but that's the human side of me. I was scared because I didn't know what they were going to tell me, if it was worse, if it had spread. And that's sort of always in the back of your mind when you go for tests. Well, we had this scan done, we left there, went to Dr. Levy's office. We walked in, he said, you want some good news? I said, what? He said, you want some good news? I said, yeah. He'd already got the results from the scan. Okay, wait a minute. I got to back up because this is going to make it even better. He got, okay, wait a minute, the scan happened. Okay, let me wait a minute. I'm thinking, I've got all the orders. Nothing's in order, but this is something that's really important. Okay, before that happened, let me tell you. I went to Dr. Miller. This is after I heard Jesus speak to me. I went to Dr. Miller, and she told me, she looked me in the eye then, and she said, you know this ain't gonna get any better. She said, enjoy your life while you can. I said, my God can make it better. And I knew it because he had told me. I said, my God can make it better. And I'm going to tell you, she put her hand up like that and pointed to the ceiling and shook her head yes. When you got a doctor that feels that way, you know you're in good hands. But she did that. And I'll never, that was just awesome. So, but they're telling me it wasn't going to get better. Then I went for the scan. Dr. Levy said, all your masses have shrunk. So remember, this is right after Dr. Miller, like the last visit with her, saying it's not going to get better. So he said, all your masses have shrunk. So then after that, Tim and I left the doctor's office. We're going up the road. Here I am. I get that excited feeling again. I said, and I'm very, very seldom am I speechless. I talk all the time, obviously. We were going up the road, and I was just thinking, taking it all in, all that was happening. And I just got that feeling again. And I just talked to him. I said, when Dr. Levy told me that, I said, Tim, that was like God said, what did I tell you? Trust me. I've healed you because I was scared when he did the scan. I've got you in the palm of my hand. I told you you're healed. I've got you. And that was like the best feeling ever. We left there straight on to my other appointment with Dr. Miller, and that was so exciting to get to see her and knowing that the scans had shown that they had all shrunk. I mean, that was awesome. There again, that's God. Because here you got the medical book saying, you're done, you know. And then I'm thinking, I got stronger. You know, then he makes the choice. And I knew from the very beginning, and I said it from the very beginning, I'm going to win. Because if God decides to take me home or leave me here, I'll be here, I'll be with my family, I win. If God takes me home, what's better than being with God? I win. So I knew either way, and I'll be honest, I'm not quite ready to leave my family here. But if he says let's go, then I know I'm okay. I know I'm going to heaven. Well, another time, I'm sitting on the bed, and like I'm telling this sort of show like what all God's done. Like, and I don't want to be about me, I want to be about what God's done for me. I was sitting back on the bed, and Tim come back there, and he was talking to me, and later on, he told me, so let's go, we're going to the hospital. He said, I was speaking slow, and I couldn't answer him right, and he said, it's not right. Put me in the car, took me to the hospital, and I had a double stroke. I had one on each side of my brain. And same thing, we saw every therapist at the hospital, not really, that's exaggerating, but you know what I mean. We saw all the therapists, they talked, and we thought that I was leaving then with no residual. We thought, okay, we got it again. But then he started telling me I was snoring. And I said, I do not snore. What's he do? He records it.
I got it on here, y'all.
I sound like an old dying cow. It didn't sound like a regular snore. It was like coming from down here. It sounded terrible. I thought, oh, I guess I do. Yeah, you have to prove. And so then after that, he told me that. But then I have two friends that I travel a lot with. Well, we went to Gatlinburg, and they started making fun of me. They said, Deanna, you sound terrible. And they were talking about when we were asleep, how bad I snored, and how bad it sounded. And they threatened to put me in the bathtub. They said, we're putting you in the bathtub. We're sleeping in there. So, and this has nothing to do with the miracles, but I have to tell you this because this is funny. So we go to Gatlinburg. We stop at Bryson City and ride that train. And I'm in the wheelchair because at the time I was having trouble breathing. So I go a distance and I was in the wheelchair. And so the train says, you've got whatever. If you're not back by this time, we're leaving. And if anybody's ever been on it, they stop in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's nothing around you, nothing. So everybody's on the train. We were on the furthest train, so we ate last, and we had to get back. Everybody's on the train, but us three 50-something-year-old women. I'm in the wheelchair. My friend Wendy's pushed me. Denise is behind. And we knew, and the people were going, come on, come on. Wendy says, hang on. And she just takes that wheelchair and takes off running. I'm bouncing. She's pushing. Denise is running. The people on the train are laughing. We're like, oh, we made it with 2 minutes to spare. The thing is, they could let us get on here and walk through the train. They didn't let us do that. They watched us and laughed. It's just funny. We got great friends. But, okay, we're going there. Come to find out, I went to the doctor after we got back because they said I need voice therapy. I'd never heard of it. Like I said, I had every therapist in the book, but voice therapy. I went and that girl said, we can't help you. And she sent me to the ENT then. What happened when I had that double stroke is it paralyzed my vocal cords. And most of the time they're paralyzed like this. Mine are different. They're paralyzed like this. And I couldn't breathe, and that's why that sound was coming up through here. And they told me, they sent me and told me I was going to have a trach. And of course I was hoping that wasn't true, but I didn't have a choice. I could either get the trach or not live. So I'd rather live. And at the time we didn't know if I'd ever have to have it forever. or if I'd get it out. We didn't know. 6 months after I had it, maybe, he told me I could take it out. Man, I was so excited. I was so glad to get rid of this thing. Tim claims it every morning, never complains, but it's aggravating. I know it is. And get the trach out. All right, so then I'm laying in bed with Tim. Well, he's already in bed. I go lay down. Y'all, I pop up. I mean, I literally can't not breathe. I mean, I had to be getting this much air through. Obviously, I got some because I'm still here. This much. Of all the times I've about passed away from whatever the occurrence with the cancer was, this is the time I felt closest to death. And I think it was because I was home. I wasn't with my doctors or nurses. It was just him and me. And it was horrible. Even the 911 dispatcher said, "Is that her?" Because the noise I was making. And at the time, that's when Betty couldn't go with me. So one of the hardest things, thank God the firefighters and the EMTs got there, pulling off and leaving him sitting there on the porch, and me having to go to the doctor and go through this one by myself. Oh, that was so hard. That was so hard. And then we got into the hospital. I was in the emergency room. They came back and they said, "We believe you've had a heart attack." So I'm thinking, oh God, and like he's always there to pray with me, to be with me, and he wasn't there. But then I started thinking, God's with me, I'm not by myself. God's with me. And a little bit later, I wish they'd never told me that, because they came back and said it wasn't a heart attack. Thank you, Lord. It was because I was gasping so hard for breath that it was pushing out, okay, I hope I'm telling this right, some kind of enzymes that were signs of a heart attack. I never had a heart attack, so I don't know. But that's why they thought it was a heart attack, but it wasn't. And the people in the emergency room said, "Later, we're going to have to have your trach put back in." And I'm like, no, please, no, don't have it. And then, beneath the ENT, blah, 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 blah. What does she say? "You're going to have the trach put back in." Let me tell you, I was thinking of every reason I could not have that trach. I was thinking of everything possible we might could do to not get this trach. So finally she said, "Well, we don't have to do it right now." I said, "When?" "Tomorrow." I was thinking when she said that, I wasn't thinking right, but I was thinking maybe later on. No, tomorrow. So I did have to put it back in. I had to change my attitude, because here I am thinking I got this trach sticking out of my throat, but the trach is a gift. It is a gift that has kept me alive. It's something that, there again, God provided through mankind, whatever, however you want to say that. I can breathe, I can speak. That was really hard for me. And I had to go a couple of days without speaking. Believe me, it was hard. We had whiteboards, writing messages, holding them up. And one of my, I called my second daughter, she came and she put an app on my phone that I could type in what I was trying to say and hit it. And it's hard. But as far as the trach goes, knowing that, how close I was to dying that night, I honestly thought I was meeting Jesus that night. I honestly did. I prayed so hard, and that night, like I said, it's happened 9 times every time. But that night, I honestly thought I was going. And when I got there, and of course I was in intensive care for, 10 days. And they were able to give me the trach. There again, like I said, it's a gift, and that's how I have to look. And back to Dr. Miller, she always made me laugh. That's one of the reasons I loved her. I got the trach the first time, and I know it looks bad. I know it does. And so everybody goes, "Oh no, it doesn't look bad." I walk into Dr. Miller's office. She said, "Can't they make that thing any smaller?" That's why I love you. That's why I love you. No, that's your job when you retire, is to make a smaller trach so it don't stick out people's head. Anyway, there's been, gosh, y'all, I could go on. There's so many things God's done. And I love to tell my story. I love to share. I get so excited. And like I said, I get so excited because it's happened. I saw it firsthand. I felt it. My family's been through it. Luke, I believe it's Luke 18:27 says, what's impossible for men is always possible for God. Okay? So what's impossible for, like, them telling me that it's done, that I have enjoyed my life while I can? Don't. No. You got to be positive. You got to have faith and believe. Believe what you know. Believe what you're taught. Believe what the Bible says. And what Julie was saying a while ago, there was things she was saying up here, and I thought, I just relate so much because you've got to believe. And sometimes it's hard when you get that third or fourth or fifth diagnosis or whatever is going on in your life. It might be divorce. It might be family troubles. It might be financial troubles. Whatever. When you get that second, third, fourth time somebody telling you, you get smacked in the face with it, there's a reason for it. I know that might sound crazy, but you got to believe that faith is what gets you there. Believe God, because He's told you He'll take care of you. Now, granted, like I said, me getting better, it might not have meant that I got better here on earth. It might have meant I got better in heaven, but I'd have been better. And that's the biggest thing, is hold on to your faith, no matter how many times you get knocked down. We fought for 4.5 years, and we fought, and we fought, and we fought. And as June 25th this year, after being told I wasn't going to make it, June 25th will be 1 year cancer free. God, no doubt in my mind. I know He healed me. He told me He would, and He did. Just thank y'all for letting me come. Just remember to just keep the faith no matter what kind of trials you're going through. That's what's going to get you there. Thank y'all so much.